I just wanted to talk
By
about...
the way, people can get pegged. It's fine.
I just
It's
wanted
totally
to talk about
cool.
Build-A-Bear, guys.
I'm not anti-pegging.
Build-A-Bear did this by putting Wingspan Matters on a shirt.
That is true.
This is their fault.
Build-A-Bear, you brought pegging on yourselves.
Yeah. See that is the title.
Welcome back to Amy and I'm Amy and I'm here with Payton Hogan.
Hello.
Justina Ashman.
Hi.
And Abby Guy.
Hi.
For those watching, you can see that Payton and Abby are holding up our book of the month. It is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Moniquill Blackgoose, so get your copies now. Before we move on to the episode proper, I want to acknowledge that we meet on Kaurna land today, down by Karawura Parry, or the River Torrens, and we're on the lands of the Kaurna people who have been sharing their stories here for a very long time, and we'd like to honour their storytellers and their elders past and present, and to acknowledge we're meeting on the unceded lands. So welcome everyone, we're back on Dragons today. Second week of Dragons. Mm-hmm. It probably can't get crazier, but I shouldn't say that because it's definitely going to now.
We're going to be very sedate.
Okay.
When I told people we're doing a month on dragons, they were like, how?
Yeah,
what are you talking
Real
about?
dragons,
Dragons?
literature.
They were like, how? And you said, yeah, I don't know how we're going to keep it to just 1 month.
Precisely.
There will be extra content. All right, so I have a list of questions because we always go off topic and it's usually me doing it. So you just have to grab the book off me,
I
Abby.
don't think it's ever you, actually.
Yeah, I do think last episode it was me. So I thought today we could talk a little bit about the history of dragons. And obviously our focus is usually literature, but we don't always stick to it. And then sort of migrate to the now of dragons because the way they're showing up in fiction is, you know, quite interesting, like in romantasy, like the way dragons have occupied a kind of tending towards the masculine kind of dominant lover. It's like a weird choice for me, but whatever. So I know some of you did some research because you're lovely little swats.
Because I didn't know anything. I had to.
Oh, well, that's a good start because Abby was here last week and you two weren't. So are you dragon fans? Did you grow up watching dragon films and reading dragon books and liking dragons? Did you read Dragonology like Millie?
I always wanted all of those books and I never got them. I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid, I don't come from a very bookish family. So it was not until I was like 11 or so that I realized I loved reading. So there were a bunch of things that I just sort of missed in that time.
I was super, super into dragons. Opposite, I came from a very bookish family. And we used to read to each other all the time. So I've actually really fond memories of like my older brother read The Hobbit to me and my younger brother, and my grandmother read Narnia to us as well. So yeah, I was immediately into fantasy. I think fantasy was the first genre that I was like full send on, and dragons especially. I feel like similar to Abby, that if I wasn't such a dragon kid, I probably would have ended up as a horse kid, but
yeah, but dragons are way cooler than horses. Sorry, horse people.
I was like, I would love dragons actually.
All right, so we were going to talk, last week we stuck a lot to Western dragons, but obviously dragons are pretty big in Eastern culture and other cultures as well. And our book of the month is, of course, to First Nations author, and there are First Nations dragons as well. So, yeah, I'm kicking it over to you guys to teach me something I don't know.
Well,
I also have research because I was like, oh, there's so much that I don't know. And I think most of the stuff that I read when I was deep in my dragon phase was that like knight in a castle, medieval style dragon. Yeah. Or if it's, a little bit more for horse girls or dragon girls, more about like, yes, the special bond between a girl and a dragon type situation. I remember reading a children's book which was about Chinese dragons, and I went to look it up to try and figure out what book it was. And I can't remember the name of the book, but I did remember being surprised to find out that it was not a Chinese author. And I was like, oh, I don't know that I had really read much literature or even mythology about dragons from like a non-Western mythology, but written by an author who is like writing from their own like culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Were the ones that you read, is it Carol Wilkinson?
There's no way I would possibly remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not in the noggin and it's not in the document. So But yeah, no, I have extremely approximate knowledge of a handful of things now.
A handful of things.
Because I did a research binge last night, which did...
And you did it even later than I did.
Yeah.
I feel like I did it really late at night. Did you sleep?
Look, that's really neither here nor there. I don't sleep normally, so that's not...
Look, she was keeping Northern Hemisphere time.
Yeah.
Not her fault.
But I was first interested in trying to find what mythology there was about dragons in Filipino culture, because that's, I'm half Filipino, so I was like, oh, I should look at this, because I've been really interested in the way pre-colonial Filipino mythology and spiritual beliefs are like kind of integrated in strange ways, or like in unexpected ways, to me at least, into Filipino Catholicism. Because of, I've just been interested in that at the moment, which is why I've been on my Catholic bullshit. But like,
Notoriously.
Are there any like stained glass windows with dragons? I feel like because of England and St. George and the Dragon, there must be.
This is I'm gonna jump ahead so far, but it's the colonialism, because like the St. George and the Dragon is based on pre-Christian mythologies and based on Welsh mythologies, as well as I think a couple of other different European countries as well. Again, approximate knowledge. Like this is all that's a story that they just like, well, it was a saint who did that actually. It was a saint and now it's godly. And it's like the dragon like myth that I was reading into from the Philippines was the Bakunawa, which originates in a bunch of different, because there's over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, and there's there was so much trade through there from other Asian countries that there's a lot of like bleed between different dragon mythologies and different from different belief systems and different cultures, which I think is actually really interesting. I found it interesting looking at this myth from like Bisaya and Bicolana people, because that's actually my mum's like people in the Philippines. That's where she's from. And then it's the main myth I found was about the dragon swallowing the moon, and that was emerging from the sea. So they're very water. This is something I found around most of the like Eastern mythologies around dragons, very associated with water, with bodies of water, rivers, seas, with storms and thunder clouds and weather.
And which then relates them to harvest as well often.
Yeah. And so in this myth, the dragon emerges from the sea and swallows the moon, and that causes the eclipse. And then the people have to make a lot of noise by like beating drums and things like that to scare the dragon away and to get it to release the moon. And there's other different like versions of it. In some of it, like the dragon is in love with the moon. In some of them, the dragon and the moon are like enemies, or like nemesis. And in some of them, there's a myth of it swallowing 6 moons, and it's actually the 7th moon that the people managed to get it to release, but it had already swallowed 6. So it's like...
It's very cosmic. Yeah.
And it's very tied to astrology and to like lunar cycles and the calendar and things like that. So it's, and as Abby said, like harvest and planting seasons. So I was like, wow, this is really fascinating to me.
So that's really interesting, because it's like last week we were talking a lot about the dragon as kind of an animal, right? Whereas this is about it being more symbolic and spiritual.
Yeah, it's kind of, and then it's interesting because then it changes with Spanish colonization and Christianity, because it is kind of a god. It's kind of like not necessarily benevolent or malevolent. It's like a force of nature in a way. But then it becomes a more common interpretation to see it as some kind of demon that's going to swallow you, that has a more black and white monstrous kind of role with the like spread of Christianity, because they want to align local spirituality with demons, with like to try and fight out paganism and get people on board with,
as they did as they
Christ.
Colonized everywhere, right?
I mean, including Wales. That's...
Yes. Yeah. I have some Welsh blood, and they are not like, they don't see themselves as English at all.
Yeah. I'm going to say something that I have even more approximate knowledge of, but like Arthurian legends are like co-opted Welsh legends. Anyway, That's the English for
Anyway.
you.
Yeah, I know.
Typical.
They're such a tiny place. They really
Love to
were.
get their mitts on stuff, hey?
Yeah. Hoarding like dragons. They've got
It was the
their dragon
self-insert character all along. Anyway, that's enough yapping from me. Let's pass it over to Payton.
You done your homework, Payton? I know you have because you were up late.
I'm going to have to look at my notes, I reckon, because I also read an article. It's important to name it because it's not like I came up with all of this myself. The article...
Whereas I did.
Yes. A History of Dragons in Western Literature by Yvonne Xiao. You actually kind of left off at a perfect point because it kind of starts with some of the earliest representations of dragons. I mean, some of the earliest ones in here are before they get to the Bible, but eventually you get to the Bible and there are stories. In the book of Revelation, Satan is a dragon and comes down to
Seriously?
punish everyone. Yeah.
I had no idea. I've never read the Bible, but
Yeah. Sometimes I hear stories
not on
about it.
my
Like, I
TBR,
kind of want to
right?
read it just like, it sounds just for all the
I
adventures.
think you can dip in and out, right? You don't need to read it cover to cover.
And then you have to pick which translation.
Which
Can you hear the Catholic
translation?
boy in the background choking? Harry, it's okay. It's okay. I already know I'm going to hell. I'll meet this dragon one day.
Next year we get
Hell is a
Bible study
concept.
month.
All
State
the
of
more
mind.
reason to sin, basically. Right?
The sea dragon.
Right? I didn't even mean that in
dragon
a
who
sexual
is,
way.
like the demon from hell is a romance character, but we'll get to that later.
Yes.
All right. So we got
Yeah.
So yeah, Satan's a devil, and people used to write bestiaries and dragons would feature in them, but it wasn't always apparently very clear to everyone that these were fictional. So a lot of people just sort of lived in fear of dragons and, you know, equivocating dragons with Satan and being punished for sin. So it's like a way to exert control over people. So it is really all about colonization and religion and all that kind of
back to
stuff.
Empire.
Well,
And then it stays evil for a really long time, the dragon. And then you get in medieval times all of these epic poems like
Beowulf.
this one. And
So Peyton's holding up Beowulf.
Oh, yeah.
Listening.
where, yeah, dragons are just inherently evil and they should be defeated. I remember the first time I read this was for a class that was all about Beowulf and it was really fun. Shout out to Erin Sebo. And I was really sad when they killed the dragon. And then I was thinking about it last night and I was like, that dragon was hoarding all the wealth. That's kind of a good reason to kill the dragon. Anyway, but yeah.
I first read that, and I feel like this is going to not shock anyone in terms of how nerdy both me and all my friends are. At a friend's, like, I guess Beowulf party. So it wasn't really a party. It was like it was a reading that she held at her house with a whole bunch of actor friends of hers, and they performed it out loud, like to feel more like, I guess, the oral tradition of these like epic tales, and it was extremely fun. And I agree. I was like, this dragon's just like minding a business, genuinely. Except for all the raising of the towns and villages and things, and stealing and like
That's
hoarding
just
gold.
dragons.
It's in
That's
its
just
nature.
dragon stuff.
Yeah.
She's just doing
That's just
dragon
nature.
things. That's it. It's like when you're getting mad at a shark for doing a shark attack.
Yeah.
If you're in the dragon's world, then you're gonna meet a dragon occasionally.
Also, and
Yeah,
I
it
might
might
be
burn you
making
down.
this up whole cloth, but I think she's provoked.
Yeah.
I think there's something that like I have an incredibly vague recollection of someone accidentally stumbling upon her and waking her up in her lair. And then she's like, fuck this. And I'm
That
like,
would be it for me.
That would do it for me. Yes, don't wake me up. It's so hard to get to sleep.
I think I also just didn't like Beowulf as a character, so I was pro the monsters throughout the whole poem anyway.
Go the monsters.
See, I feel like dragons, going back to you were saying they started out as evil and were evil for a long time in their depictions, is also a very Western,
Yes.
a very westernized kind of image of dragons, because in the East, from my understanding of what I've read, in the East, they're often more benevolent and wise and protective kind of, and they bring harvest and they bring the rain.
Yeah.
That's what I tended to find when I was having just like genuinely a very surface level look at things. They're either quite benevolent or they're just nature. Like there's not really a moral or like malicious component. They're just a force of nature or a godlike creature or like actively helpful. Yeah.
It's
So-
interesting. Oh,
Sorry, you go.
no, you
Peyton.
go.
No, you go. I'm more interested in what you have to say. Go.
I was
You've done
gonna
your
say-
research.
But this is kind of jumping ahead because I feel like we still will probably have more history to get through. But it's interesting to think about how all of these different traditions inform dragons today, or like since the 90s, basically. Yeah.
And one thing I think is interesting that I'm curious as we move into the modern age is that, you know, these origin myths or the ancient stories have a different conception of nature. Like there's much more of a sense of the spiritual and of everything being connected rather than everything being just the physical world and therefore it's an animal or it's an alien or another, or everything is much more entangled, I think.
Jumping off of what you were saying there, Amy, that I find that really interesting, the mythologies where it feels like dragons are either something to be conquered, they're a way of showing a heroic feat like Beowulf, or a show of strength that proves that you're, you know, powerful and a leader and all these things. Or versus ones where they are like, nature isn't necessarily seen as something that needs to be conquered and bent into shape, but something to live alongside, to
And
live
maybe
in
also
balance with.
stories to understand, like when you were talking about
Yeah.
the Filipino dragons, the idea that it is a story we tell ourselves to understand the natural world when we have, I mean, and also, you know, science is a paradigm. This is just another paradigm of understanding it.
I feel like the slaying of this is going to be
Yeah.
really off topic, but like you were saying, like going off and conquering a dragon is a show of power. I feel like if you had Tinder when when dragons existed, the men aren't holding up fish; they're holding up like they're standing next to dragons, and
Yes.
the bigger the dragon, the bigger his dick is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I misspoke before. Beowulf is not from the Middle Ages; it's from earlier. But there are like epic poems like that later, a little bit later in the Middle Ages, inform all of these stories of chivalry and knights slaying dragons. So dragons they're not huge features of the story, and they're not developed into any kind of belief system. They literally just are a prop for the knight to display power. So that is the knight holding up the dragon.
Yeah, going look how big this fish is.
And I
Yeah,
do think it links to like cultural attitudes towards nature itself as something to be bent, to your will and to be defeated, versus something that provides for you, but can also be dangerous. That
Can
is
kill you.
both like a life-giving and something that is also destructive. And it's funny that you make the comparison with fish, because that was something that I noticed like when I was reading across of like, I will say mostly East Asian and Southeast Asian myths. A lot of these dragons are associated with creation myths, and also very specifically with water and bodies of water and like, rain, thunder, lightning, weather events and things like that. And I find that so interesting because it is that thing that is both life-giving and destructive of like, you need the water to live. You need the fishermen to have fish, to have food. But at the same time, like storms can like completely destroy your home. And like you, especially around like Japan and the Philippines and those island countries, these like weather events can be hugely destructive.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But also and there's the idea of the depths too, that you don't know what's down there. And like there's a lot of creatures of the water that are dragon-like already, that I think it doesn't seem like a huge stretch to imagine there are dragons down there.
in Dragonfruit, which I mentioned last week with the Pacific Island dragons, they are solely water dragons. The only time they come out of the water is to like bake on the sand, and then they go back in the water. But they're very much water,
And
very fish-like.
I read, and to be fair, I remembered this book from when I was a child, but The Rainbow Serpent by
Course.
I should have practiced this. Gubalathaddin Thaldin Roughsey, who wrote and illustrated, but like made these beautiful artworks of the story of the rainbow serpent, which is also a creation story. And I found that that similarity as well there in this tie to water and places of water, and that being tied to the idea of life as well. And things that are life.
Water is often the origin of life.
Yeah, it's just such a different attitude towards dragons as being representative of nature itself, I think.
Which is interesting when you come back then to the idea of the West and the English and colonialism and the Spanish, is the idea of nature as something to be harvested and hoarded.
And wealth is something that is extracted from the land, not something that is provided to you by nature and by the land.
And there's no responsibility back to it. So I have a fun question to get us a little peppier, which is if you were a dragon, what would your hoard be? What are you hoarding? Are you hoarding like moon pearls? Have you got 6 moons in your pocket?
Oh, moons. I need to think larger.
We spoke about this off pod that none of us are allowed to say books because that's the obvious answer.
And it's my real actual hoard.
Yeah, me too.
We're already dragons.
Yeah, I'm already. Yeah, if I could sit on all of them, I would.
My book nest.
I got Harry for some reason.
Everyone move on.
A couple of episodes we sent Harry home crying with laughter, and I think that's Abby's new goal for every
He's
episode.
Just got a filthy mind. Filthy.
I mean, mine's probably clothes after books. I have so many clothes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Could I hoard
But if you're a
cat?
dragon, what would you hoard?
Yeah.
You could hoard anything. Cats.
Yeah.
You just have a cat herd.
Yeah.
You'd have like a cave full of cats.
Yeah, we all snooze together in the evenings.
That's adorable.
What about those little novelty teaspoons that you get from
Oh.
traveling?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are such a grandma. That is such a grandma answer.
I have a bunch from
Yeah.
my nana.
Yeah, you do.
I can imagine you with the little wooden racks that people hang on the walls.
Yes,
and
I don't know how to
them.
display them. I need to look into
Yeah,
it.
they do.
This
You
is the cozy
go op
dragon
shopping.
narrative.
You need to go op shopping and find the old-fashioned wooden racks. You can hang them in.
We have no spoons for our tea. Where are all the spoons for our tea?
That does inspire me, though.
dragon.
It would be beautifully restored mid-century modern teak furniture.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, would it be in a pile or would it all be displayed,
it would,
arranged?
Yeah, it would be arranged.
I think I'd hoard interesting people to stop me getting bored.
Oh
be
my
like,
god, that's
Kidnapping.
and they're just in cages, and you're like, be
You want
interesting.
jesters.
Kidnap.
Dance
No,
for
no,
me.
no. Interesting people, not jesters. I don't find jesters at all
Jesters
interesting.
aren't interesting.
Not at all. Like, what is the capering?
And
I
then you
don't
just
get
let
the
them go
capering.
after a while when they get boring. You're like, oh well, you can get back.
Well, you
Bells
just
on
eat
their
one
hat.
if it get, you
I mean,
know.
it'd be so annoying to have someone
Beowulf
jingling
is
around.
hunting you down, and you hear the jingles of the jester bells echoing through the halls.
Honestly, stop the ringing. What is this?
What makes a person interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they have to be surprising.
Okay.
Surprise me. You guys always surprise me.
Is that a surprise?
I feel like that would be stressful.
Are you
though,
trying
having all
to
these people who
get hoarded
surprise
right
you.
Well, you'd have to let them go off and entertain themselves sometimes. You need some alone time. But it would be nice if you were a lonely dragon in a cave. You've got your cats.
You're hoarding
Yeah, true.
privacy.
I want someone to talk to.
Do you know what? We just created on this side of the podcast like the most elderly lady stereotype of I want teak furniture,
I want
spoons,
cats.
and cats.
Yeah, you
And that's me as a dragon.
Oh, bless.
Dragons are all old ladies. Everyone jot that down.
Yeah. Old lady dragons. I'm up for that. I'm up for that. All right, well, your hoarding is interesting. It sounds like going to my local op shop. All right, I want to segue now before we run out of time. So my kids sent us a reel saying, please talk about this, which is that Build-A-Bear.
Is that our first request?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god, call in, guys.
It'd be like you are the only people weird enough to cover this in some kind of way that will make sense or have context. So
We have a long-time listener, first-time caller, Amy's kid.
didn't even call, just came and talked to me. But so Build-A-Bear, I don't know if they have that anywhere else in the world, but we have it in Australia. It must be. There is a US one because my kid has ordered US ones.
I'm pretty sure the US
Yeah.
have Build-A-Bear.
So anyway,
It looks American.
It does. It
Yeah,
seems American. So Build-A-Bear, if you don't know it, it's this place where you can take your kid or your adult to build a bear, teddy bear. They have different kinds of things, and they stuff them and they put a heart in it, and then there's a whole ceremony, and you can dress them.
And it's not technically child labour because the kid isn't employed.
No, absolutely not.
It's not manufacturing.
And then,
it
of
is an
course,
event.
they're like, they have special releases. It all costs a fortune. It's like a way of capitalism getting money out of you. But kids love them. I remember my youngest had their 6th birthday party at Build-A-Bear, and I sat there and watched them all make their little
I
bears.
never had a Build-A-Bear.
Neither.
Never. Oh,
I like a really plain bear. I'm a bear purist.
They just released a Winnie the Pooh line though, and I was very tempted to get an Eeyore
They would
from
definitely
Build-A-Bear.
have dragon stuff, which is bringing us to the topic. Is
Yeah.
that my kids showed me Build-A-Bear now have a romantasy line.
Like, who is the audience?
That's that's what they
well,
wanted
not
to
children.
know.
I think someone in marketing heard
Yeah.
that there was a trend where women saying they would choose the bear, and they were like, "Oh my god, yeah, okay, we can get women on board. That's our market."
I do think a lot of adults do it, like go to Build-A-Bear and get bears
Well,
and
that's
collect
like-
bears.
There's a trend which is very Build-A-Bear like. I think it's mostly in America where the Jellycat stores have these stalls where you go up and you order your Jellycat, but it's like a little like chef station, and the Jellycats, which are these stuffed toys, are like pancakes or
So it's like go to Yochi and you can pick your things.
yeah, and the people who do this like are employed there have these huge personalities, it seems like.
The
And
Build-A-Bear people do too.
You order like a pancake Jellycat and they like mime taking this Jellycat, which is a stuffed toy, and like they roast it, and they're like, how much syrup do you want? And they put on fake syrup and then they hand it over. And a lot of the stuff I see is adults.
Yeah. I think-
Everyone who has that job, do you enjoy it? How do you?
There are a couple who are famous for it on
there would be
TikTok.
worse jobs, wouldn't there?
I think they're
I don't know,
being
involves
held
children.
hostage. Like, I think they've got some kind of like life debt that they're repaying against their will. I think.
Maybe it's karma. Maybe it's
Back to the
karma.
dragons.
Back to the bears.
Sorry, so sorry.
So they've got a new romantasy line, and my kid was like, "What is this? Who is the audience?" Because there are bears with T-shirts which say things like "Wingspan matters"
Yeah.
and "Shadow Daddy," so they're very sexualized. So I think that's interesting for how romantasy has kind of spread into every facet of our lives, and the way dragons kind of have to.
Well, I'm assuming that the Wingspan Matters one is actually more about the board game Wingspan, where you collect different birds.
Do you? Yeah.
Because that game really matters quite a lot to me.
Ornithology is like a thing right now. Yeah.
Bird watching, everyone's doing it.
It's true. That is actually genuinely true.
No, genuinely, there's a game, like they're making video games about bird watching.
So
But
people
no,
just step outside. There are birds.
This is linked though, because the same company that made Wingspan released a dragon version called Wormspan.
Oh.
And
That
it's a similar
sounds like
game
something
but
else.
with dragons, which I like in theory, but I really enjoy learning bird facts. And as we covered in the last episode, the dragon facts could be anything.
Yeah, you can make that up.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me, I mean, Wingspan Matters came from, it's an inside joke between fans of A Court of Thorns and Roses about the wingspan of the men in that, and Wingspan Matters being the bigger the wingspan, the bigger his dick.
Yeah, I was at a party. So
like feet.
I did. Yes, yeah. I was at a party about a year ago, and I ran into a friend of ours who's probably 40, has 2 young kids. She's a fashion designer, and she was telling me she just got into romantasy. Like she's not a reader, doesn't read, obsessed. And obsessed with dragon novels, and she just yelled very drunkenly at the top of her voice, "I mean, as big a wingspan as possible." And I was like, "It's a thing, like that is a thing."
My
That's not
question
relating
is,
to dragons though. They just have bat wings.
yeah, my question then why isn't there albatross romantasy?
Those wingspans are huge.
Good question.
Yeah.
It's
If
so
Wingspan
Pelicans. I mean,
matters so
pelicans have
much.
massive wings.
See, I think because the romantasies that I've read where wingspan matters isn't about dragons per se. It's about the men who have wings, and they're often bat wings or like angel wings. But the romantasies that do have dragons in them, the dragons are always a symbol of power, and he always has
The biggest one.
Well, she ends up with the biggest one because she has to have more power over him or be equal in power, and that requires a big dragon.
I mean, you could do some real fun gender stuff there that I'm sure
It's like a strap
someone must be working
Yeah,
on.
that's a thing too.
Someone must be in the gender minds working on this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are they hoarding? Are they hoarding the book?
It would work better if there's a sex scene where she pegs him. Then I'd be like, okay,
I'm sure that
you're
exists.
actually doing it. I don't
I'm
know.
sure that exists. I'm sure it's out there.
Somewhere.
No, Justina can't speak anymore. We've gone
like-
past pegging.
Oh
was it.
no, I was like, but there's again. I mean, we're gonna go rewind all the way back to our Smut Month, though, in terms of the idea of pegging being associated with domination and the sex act of penetration being associated specifically with overpowering someone, being a sort of inherently fraught
Assumption.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. But it's like the...
But, you know, men deserve to get pegged. That's fine. They can, like,
Enjoy it,
everyone,
dudes.
it's, you know, it's 2026. People can enjoy, people can enjoy getting pegged without being concerned about the
Need a big,
social,
like,
cultural
disclaimer.
implications.
Sorry.
about
Gone very sideways on us.
It's so sideways so quickly.
I just wanted to talk
By
about.
the way, people can get pegged. It's fine.
I just
It's
wanted
totally
to talk about
cool.
Build-A-Bear, guys.
I'm not anti-pegging.
Build-A-Bear did this by putting Wingspan Matters on a shirt.
That is true.
This is their
Build-A-Bear,
fault.
you brought pegging on yourselves.
See, that is the title.
If you would like to sponsor this episode,
We're super sponsorable.
Our email inbox is open.
All in, I was just trying to say that I feel like dragons are more a symbol of power in the same way that
yeah.
penis size is. In
Yeah.
It's not even really such a symbol, is it?
No, it's not.
This allows me to pivot us back to the really fun topic and sexy topic of colonialism. Because another thing that I found really interesting is the way that people, like, in some ways, like, you can, like, connecting with the, like, dragon mythology of your culture can be a anti-colonial act. It can be a way of going back to, like, a pre-colonial mythology to better understand.
Just holding up our book of the month.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
If anyone would like to get reading.
And then, but dragons are also often very colonial symbols. They're associated with emperors, with royalty, with
England.
power, with military.
Yeah.
I was reading that a lot of Japanese, like, World War II armaments, like submarines and rockets and airplanes, are named after dragons. And a lot of countries will have dragons as a national symbol and will be on their flags and on their military insignia and things like that. So it's an interesting tension where, like, dragons become a point of community identification in resisting the, like, homogenization of, like, a Christian colonial mythology, and at the same time are, like, weaponized as symbols of power and conquering.
It is like the problematic nature of pegging the patriarchy.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
that way. Yeah.
It's interesting how many of those kind of empires have symbols of creatures that don't exist, right? Like unicorns and dragons.
And kangaroos and emus.
I
Yeah, they
reckon
don't
like
exist.
all the early leaders were like,
I meant
we need to,
empires, like
make-
we're like the settled colony.
Yeah.
I reckon the early leaders were like, we just need to make something up really scary and convince them that it's real. Like, this place has dragons. We need to come up with something else, guys. What's scarier?
A unicorn.
yeah.
A unicorn.
It's a horse, but it has a horn on its head. And that's terrifying.
Maybe
Because
wings.
then we get back to pegging the patriarch.
Yeah, exactly. Full circle moments.
It's the phallus.
This really has gone sideways. I'm not sure how to get back.
You can't bring up penises, okay?
Are there any?
I don't think she did.
I don't think I've mentioned a penis once
No,
until
this
now.
is the problem with the Build-A-Bear bears in having Wingspan
don't have
Matters. Because
penises.
Wingspan
Yeah.
Matters is bringing up penises.
Yeah, and
Which
bears have no genitalia.
Yeah.
Those
This is an
Build-A-Bears.
interesting problem in
Bears in general.
So
no
really, when
genitalia.
he's wearing well, pandas
I'm sorry,
are having
I'm still
problems.
pivoting it.
Yeah. There haven't even been any fireball shots yet. What's happening? Okay, the sexual stuff in dragons. Like, so, okay, you're saying they're well operating as a symbol, like they're dragon riders, but there are shifters. But why do you think the dragon particularly is lending itself to kind of hypersexual stories right now?
I wonder.
is true.
I wonder if it is related to that symbol of power, because, you know, we talk we've talked, I think, multiple times on the podcast about how often like romantasy heroes or romance heroes in general are like large and big, even if they're like, you know, sweet, like, and cinnamon rolls. There's a
That's a
level
choice
of,
they're making to be sweet, but they could be tough.
yeah. Or if it's not being physically large and powerful, there's other elements of power at play in the dynamic.
If you look at really early like dragon fiction as well, where dragons are positive, and McAffrey novels are really well known for their dragon content. But in that, the men ride the dragons, and the female dragon's purpose is to procreate, and the woman in it is to bond. Yeah, so there's so much like essentialism in those novels, in my opinion. I feel very strongly about them. I find them very misogynistic. Sorry, and because she's not allowed to, she can't ride a dragon. It's a man's job.
So does she never? I mean, we haven't read the whole.
I
series.
read the first book. I haven't read the rest, but she's set up to be this very important figure in that she can bond really well with dragons. And then you find out that only men ride dragons, and the whole novel, she ends up like, you know, in a romance with the man.
So why can't women ride dragons? Like, is there like some protective force field that like knocks you off?
That would make sense to me as
I'm going to look this up. Yeah, I need the reason to.
It makes sense to me as a world setup if it's like mirroring our world, but as a story, I feel like, I mean, maybe if I read it as a kid, I wouldn't notice things like this, but if I read it now, I would be upset if she didn't eventually
get on a dragon.
Like that would justify it.
Yeah. I also wonder if there's like, I mean, I find it really interesting how, like you touched on this a bit last week as well, that like there's not really, you know, a canonical dragon. Like there is not the one symbol that dragon means, because, you know, when dragons are associated with water and stuff, they're often associated with like life and creation and fertility, which is frequently associated with women. And at the same time, like there's such a slippery symbol and like slippery figure.
Unless you're Tolkien, he was adamant that they were all evil dragons.
True.
But that's one dude.
Man, what happened to him as a kid? What dragon was a bastard to him that he hated them all so much?
He just loved Beowulf and felt like that's the dragon.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
That was the initial trauma. Set it all off. The dragon would in Beowulf. Poor Beowulf.
But no, that's so upsetting to me that that's the premise of that book. But would be interesting to pick apart.
Yeah. It's interesting. She was like, because this was part of the article as well, it was talking about how after the Middle Ages, dragons kind of disappear from literature for a really long time. And then someone has this quote, I might even be able to find it. So dragons disappeared post-Enlightenment and with the invention of the novel, even with the rise of the fantasy genre. So fantasy existed, but dragons didn't really appear. It was all like witches and stuff like that. But then like Tolkien brought it back with his, you know, like Beowulf dragon, and then Anne McAffrey and Ursula Le Guin brought back dragons. There were some children's authors bringing them back, but they weren't really in any kind of adult literature.
Do you think the boom we're seeing now is also because we have more of a cross-cultural pollination? That, you know, like everyone watches K-dramas and everyone's watching Asian cinema, and like I always remember like when Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out, like that was such a huge moment for the West to suddenly catch on. There's this whole cinematic experience you can have that is not from Hollywood. But I wonder if partly the surge we're seeing in this kind of mythology is partly that we are more open to other texts now.
Yeah.
I hope that's what it is.
I'm going to be optimistic.
People have moved on from Tolkien and even Anne McAffrey and Ursula Le Guin.
Yeah, I can't find the exact plot of Anne McAffrey's book for some reason. But to my knowledge, they need more dragons. And the queen dragons are hard to come by, but they need a female dragon to bond.
They're like bees, these dragons.
Yeah. They need a female to bond with the dragons. They go out and collect all of these women from these different areas to bond with this queen dragon. And then whichever male dragon bonds with the queen dragon after she's hatched, she then is in a romantic relationship with that guy, whoever that guy is.
The Handmaid's Tale, but with dragons.
But also, like,
so she gets with him because his dragon is fucking the queen, and they need more eggs.
Not to be so comically on my bullshit, but like that is the rape of the same-eyed women. Like, it's because in order to do nation building, you need women as a reproductive resource.
Yes,
So it's like, it's...
I did not enjoy the reproductive futurism of it all.
But if they made it a musical, you might.
Yeah. What if it was a really fun, jaunty song?
Yeah. What if we're raping the dragons cheerfully?
Yeah.
Oh dear, what a fun soundbite.
Okay.
Okay.
Seven brides for seven brothers.
But anyway,
about
I've got
dragons.
some questions for you. Yeah, that's a callback, everyone, to our July 2025 month. If you want to go back and see Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and Justina's colonial read of it, which was amazing. All right, questions. Of all the fictional dragons, which dragon would you want to keep as a pet?
Well, maybe this is just because Mushu is at top of mind. I don't think he's a pet because he's a person, like he's a being, like
It's
a
okay,
person.
my cat is a person too.
My cat's not. He's a criminal. He's a beast.
Psychopath.
Actually, all right. Sorry, You're like, okay, we're going to get on topic because we need to wrap up.
It's never going to happen.
But there are three
Editing
types
this
of
is going to be hell.
there are three types of animals, and I think dragons fit into this as well. And that's critters, creatures, and beasts. Those are the three types of animals.
I think humans are those too.
Yeah,
we're beasts.
humans are animals, and my cats, I've got a critter, a creature, and a beast. I've
Right.
got one of all kinds. I think
Yeah, I
Mushu
think
would
I've
be
got a
great
creature and a
because he
beast.
can cook bacon and eggs.
Ah, nice.
His ability to cook is incredible. He's very crafty, and I think a really good friend. So that would be my
Yeah,
pick.
nice.
I, as a pet, would want, this is going to be so basic, I really like Toothless and How to Train Your Dragon because I feel like he's extremely cat/dog-like. He's very funny and humorous.
So he'd fit in with all the cats in your cave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was modeled after a cat, and I love that.
Nice.
I'm going to pick Puff the Magic Dragon because I wouldn't be like Jackie Paper. I wouldn't abandon the dragon.
No, I can imagine that would be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about yourself?
I just don't know enough dragons, I don't think. I was thinking Mushu as well, but also I really like Falcon from Neverending Story, which I said last week.
Yeah.
I loved the colour of his scales, that iridescent kind of colour. And then his
Yes.
fluffiness and his ears were
I
like my
also-
beagles. It's cute.
I also think Haku from the Ghibli film
Again, another
would be
dragon
an
that's a person.
incredible,
A dragon that's a person that's also a river.
Spirited Away. Yes, thank you.
And then the next one is, which dragon would you want to sick on your enemies?
Oh,
Ooh.
I've got a connection here, and I promise it's a real connection. So we were talking off pod about how when last episode, when you all invented the world where every animal is dragons, I was really torn about the idea of owning a dragon because I love birds, but I don't ever really want to own them.
Well, putting them in a cage is
yeah,
awful.
I like them being able to be out and free. So there's that aspect of it. But I do think magpies are dragons. This is something a friend of mine made a zine about, and I was like, you're so correct. And magpies are the dragon that you would sick upon your enemies.
I agree with that. I could sick a magpie on people. They're pretty intense.
Yeah.
They'd
You want to
be
like
vindictive as
annoy
well.
the hell out of that person for the rest of their life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would sick one of the Game of Thrones dragons.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, if
they
I need to just get
definitely-
rid of them altogether, probably.
I was going to say Barney, and then I realised he's a dinosaur.
Well, this is why are you sicking Barney on people?
I think Barney is so annoying. It would be great to sick him on your
like a
enemies.
jester in
dinosaur.
Dinosaur
Yeah,
War.
That's right. In a big puffy costume.
Barney with bells on.
This is another thing, though, right? I think that dinosaurs are just dragons. All dragons were just dinosaurs.
I
Only one
always
really
assumed that dragon mythologies exist because people at some point accidentally found fossils and didn't know about dinosaurs yet. Well, so they were like,
They didn't know about dragons, and then we decided dinosaurs were real
yeah, there
instead.
were dragons
They
all
flew. They
along.
had flying ones. They had water ones. They had
Exactly,
all
and they're
sorts of little
reptilian in
ones, big
appearance.
ones.
There's such a mix of them. And in Spirited Away, the dragon is a river spirit, but also has like the elements of like catfish, has chicken feet. It's like dragons are not like so much aligned with a specific single creature.
Except have you seen the new visualization of what T-Rex probably did look like? It's like a
Yes.
big fluffy
Big
kiwi bird.
chickens. Yes.
So I really don't feel like that's terribly dragon-like.
Yeah.
Well, because if you look at like penguin skeletons
Yeah.
versus, if you
So
did what you
maybe
did
our
with
dragons
dinosaurs.
would actually be more like magpies. So I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right, which dragon would you fall in love with?
Oh. I'm team don't romance a dragon. I don't like the shifter dragon romances.
Bestiality, too bestial.
Normally they're in
We are
human form,
against
aren't they?
bestiality.
Just going to put
This
it out there.
episode's got some fucking
Inanimate
bangers.
objects, fine. Bestiality, no.
We are an anti-bestiality
So
pod.
they have to shift into human
Is this what you
form.
expected, Amy, when you wanted like to work on the
don't
brand?
No. I didn't quite think it would go this way, but
I'm going to throw back to our watch of Dragonheart. I don't know that I would be interested in romancing a dragon myself, but I think it was pretty impressive that the dragon in Dragonheart had such a large polycule of humans.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so true. They were all in love.
Deeply.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a nice place to end it.
Yeah.
Aww.
I feel like it's not, and you're just like, this is as good as we're going to get.
That was the sweetest
I need to
moment
shut
we've
them
had.
up before they say something
Oh,
weird
right.
again.
I need to stop them before someone mentions the face.
There you go. It happened.
I feel like I spent half this episode on my phone, the other half talking about penises. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's
It's
okay.
just an average day for
We've
Abby.
had colonialism, pegging, and penises, and that's exactly what I expected from a dragon episode.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming to our book club.
Well, our book club will be in 2 weeks' time.
Here you go. We have To Shape a Dragon's Breath.
Yes.
I guarantee you, it is. There, none of the gross stuff from today is in the book.
There will
All
be
the good stuff and
colonialism.
none
There
of
is colonialism. That is the link. I will let you take it from there. But it's a really, really interesting book, and we can't wait to talk about it in a couple of weeks. We have an interview next week. Do we announce it now, or do we surprise people?
Oh,
We can announce
We can
it.
announce
Probably
it, yeah.
announce it.
Yeah.
Just going to make sure I get the right one. We'll be interviewing Rebecca Thorne, who is, I've had the joy of interviewing Rebecca once before, and she is just so much fun, but also so fucking smart and has so much to say about all the things we love. Not today's episode things we love to talk about. The normal political
You're
things
like-
we love to talk about.
I thought that last episode for this month was going to be the unserious one.
No, it's this
and then
one.
this one was both more serious and less.
we need also not only mics but cameras on our producers, because you can see that they've given up.
They're crying. They're both crying.
They've literally given up.
There's
They're like, there's
tears.
nothing to do.
And we're like
Nothing to do
half an
about
hour overtime, so we're just going to wrap it up. Do give us some feedback on what you think of the episode, because however you think of this will determine whether I ever allow Abby to pick a topic again.
Once Abby edits it, this episode is going to be 20 minutes long.
Yeah, it'll be just Justina
It'll
Payton's
just
side of the podcast,
It'll
and that's
just
it.
be colonialism pegging, and none of our stuff will be in it. Anyway, on that note, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all next week for our interview with Rebecca Thorne.
Bye. Bye. Oh my God.